Hi, I'm Hannah Levbarg with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services here for Parkbench.com today, and I am at Terra Verde in Santa Fe, which is a fabulous little restaurant. My friend Kevin, Ivens, who's owner and maker of things and runner of the whole thing with his wife Mariana, who's not with us, but equally with me. And so we are here to talk about Terra Verde, which is a relatively new venture.
Yes.
I would say already indispensable to the community, based on what I hear.
Well, that's lovely to hear. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah.
I think we've been open now since April 11th, so we're looking at 9 months.
Wow.
And it's been a learning curve, to say the least, but it's been exciting.
Can you describe Terra Verde?
So I mean, it all kind of goes back to living in New Orleans and becoming a health nut due to personal reasons, and helping a close family member of mine out to overcome some health challenges that she came across. It really kind of sparked an interest in my wife and I, who had already been eating healthy throughout our lives, but it sparked an interest in eating, focusing on what we were putting in our bodies, how we were putting them in, when, and just learning all about these great foods that we didn't know about. You know,
like using food as medicine, more than just eating healthy, right?
You know, which in turn led to making it fun, because when you know you're bringing something into your life, into your body that makes you feel healthy and is intriguing all the same, because there's these huge array of foods and superfoods out there that we had discovered that were just amazing to us. And so we incorporated all that stuff into our daily regimen, and it just sparked an idea. And so the idea of Terra Verde came throughout that whole process, but what we had really thought about was not just, opening up a juice bar or an organic restaurant. It was more, I always thought to myself, how great would it be to find a place that appeals to all the things that I want. Good coffee, great atmosphere, delicious all organic food, smoothies, juices, just that focus on health, on our well-being, and incorporate all these amazing superfoods that are found around the world that are now becoming more prevalent. So really, Terra Verde is an amalgamation of three concepts: juice bar, smoothie shop, coffee house, with an inviting atmosphere where you can come and hang out.
And for those of you who haven't been here, and you're a fool if you haven't been here yet, I'm kidding. But I also know that you made a point. It's also like a really good co-work space. It's a friendly place. They've made it easy to get some work done while you have your lunch or something. It's inviting, it's quiet and welcoming, and there's power.
Yes.
And there's power around the place, and a Wi-Fi you can connect to. So, the bases are kind of covered.
Yeah, that was a big deal for me. It was when we installed these bancos, when we had them built, we deliberately had them fitted to be able to have outlets. So people can come in and plug and play wherever they sit across the entire dining area. They can plug in their computer, sit, lounge, and feel like they're in a place that they want to hang out for a while. And that was the concept that we had originated with, was create a space that invited people to want to come, sit, and do their work, or hang out, or have a lunch, but feel comfortable in that they're in a space that's warm and inviting all the same.
Yeah, and I see people in here having group meetings, and I see people I know in here all the time, and I was like, think I'm just freaking out, going, oh, hey, it's such and such. It's really become like a really nice community hub that way, I think.
Oh, it's been great.
And
getting to know the locals as well, the regulars that have come here, that have become now regulars, has been part of the benefit and the fun of the whole experience, is getting to know people. And we're new to Santa Fe, so it's just helped us really get acquainted, not just with the city, but the locals, the feel, the ambience, the general population.
It's a nice city, and I think it's a great way to meet people, to start a popular little restaurant. What are your hours of business, by the way?
We're open from Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturdays 9 to 4. We're closed on Sundays.
Okay, good. It's a good work day drop-in, because I do this all the time.
Yes,
I get my go-to smoothie, and so let me ask you, what would you say has surprised you most since you've opened about owning Terra Verde? And I know you've owned other businesses in your past.
The thing that surprised me the most about owning this business, I've been in the hospitality industry when I was younger, but I think what surprised me the most being involved in this business is just the amount of different moving parts. With regards to purchasing and maintaining inventory, maintaining staff morale, maintaining staff in general, making sure that everything that's on the menu is available to our customers, fresh and available at all times. So like managing and creating all those little systems along the way to sort of oversee and maintain the entire infrastructure of the business. So the surprise was kind of developing that infrastructure, that internal organization that's important to really make a business and make it thrive.
Are you listening, entrepreneurs? It's a really good tip.
And of course that's true for any business, but
I think also with food service, because you open if you suddenly have run out of everything, or the service falls down, like because you haven't put that in, that's what hits word of mouth, right? So it's pretty critical in the customer service, customer facing, right?
So you definitely want to, we strive to avoid ever having that kind of negative feedback from our customers, whether it be from them not liking what we're serving, or something being served that it wasn't what they anticipated. So we're very transparent in what we serve. We post a lot on social media of our new recipes, our new ideas. But really the real surprise, the real challenge was creating that system to oversee all of that, to make sure that what we're putting out is consistent. What we're putting out is perfect, really.
Yeah, you become a reliable brand too. It's suddenly like people know when they come here, they're going to get what they expect, and it's going to be there, and it's going to meet all of the.
Yes, and what's good about entrepreneurs getting into this business is you got to be your harshest critic.
Right.
And I'm a very hard critic when I go to other places, other restaurants. I'm always looking at how their floor is run, how the operational management is run, how their food is delivered, just all those little small details, how the food is presented, how it tastes. I'm a very hard critic when it comes to that, because when I go to a nice place, I have certain expectations, and I know that people will come here and have those same expectations. So me, being on the other side of this for so many years, knowing what customers expect, what they want, being now an owner in this business and managing all of that, my focus really was making sure that we create that consistency without compromise at all.
And there's a good question on here about how you do motivate and encourage your staff.
Yeah, well, what the other thing that I really focused on, and this I got more from the last business that I run, was developing a team that's cohesive, a team that kind of works well together, that understands each other and works as a team, rather than having a manager in the kitchen that bosses everybody around. It's more we see each other, even myself, because I work in the kitchen a lot throughout the week. We're all team members. None of us oversee others. We all work well together. We know what our position is. So I hate to say that we're all cogs in a wheel, but really we're all cogs in the same wheel. We all have our separate roles, but we also all contribute to what other people are doing, to assist them, to help them out with what they're doing. And what that creates is just an atmosphere there where we can rely on each other, we can depend on each other, and at the same time it's fun too, because one of the things that I really look for when I hire somebody is their personality and what their experiences are and how they've handled challenges. And I've been lucky, really lucky, to have found such great staff that not only work well, not only do exactly what is asked of them, but then beyond that, but workers that enjoy working, employees and staff that contribute to this fun atmosphere. So coming to work every day, even for myself, is just, you wake up in the morning and you feel energized, because you're going to come to an establishment where everybody gets along. I mean, we're almost all friends, even though we do have to, at times, establish the hierarchy when it comes to, the actual structure of management. But at the same time, I mean, I think I have good enough, staff that enjoy the atmosphere that we're working in and thrive in. And that to me was the most important thing, other than creating consistency and a good product. But what goes on behind the curtains is so important. Because when you have a team that works well together, that thrives together, that enjoys working together, then it it makes it easier.
I think when I think about this place, I think if I remember being a much younger person, there would have been a time when I would have just been like, oh, I put in an application at Terra Verde. Like it would be a real place that I can imagine really wanting to work at a certain point in my life. When I wasn't selling real estate or doing any of the other more grown-up things than having a cool restaurant to try to go work at. You should just come work here.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is our staff. They're probably our biggest customers too. They on their off days are always here.
The food. Or...
The food. Everybody here eats, what we serve, and everybody feels healthy.
I met a colleague in here one day, not on purpose. He was just here, and he was like, "Man," he said, "No, I count on this place." He said, "I just know, like, I can go in there and anything I order, it's going to be healthy, it's going to be delicious." And then he told me he would riot in the streets if you ever close. So, or in the parking lot. He said he'd riot in the parking lot if you ever close. Have you ever had any really weird requests from customers that stand out?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely one that comes to mind that was kind of odd. Customer wondered if we had human milk. As a dairy alternative. We thought she was being, facetious, joking, whatnot, but no, she was serious, and we politely said that that's not something we carry. So that was definitely the oddest request. Most of the other stuff is really just normal.
Yeah, little changes. That's a good one.
That's
a good one.
Nice.
I've been asking this to all my.
Really?
Well, that or like what's the most memorable thing you've had happen recently? What do you think your biggest challenges have been? And what was it like when you first started out? I mean, it seems like things have been pretty smooth, but.
Well, we try to give that image that everything has been smooth and perfect, but what goes on behind the scenes is far from. But at the beginning, it was looking at this huge mountain before me. The mountain, this task of starting a business, kind of knowing the nuts and bolts of how to run this business, but not entirely. So there was this huge task of really just tackling it. I remember at the very beginning, September of 2018, when I met with Kelly with Verde in taking over the space. It was either, in my mind, I had to make a decision. I gave myself 2 weeks to make a decision because this was such a huge jump for us. We moved to Santa Fe only a month or 2 months before.
Right.
And so we kind of wanted to ease into this whole concept of ours, but it just fell in our lap right after moving here. So it was a big challenge that I
had to make the decision sooner than you anticipated.
Yes, exactly. It was definitely something that we didn't anticipate having to make so soon, but in my mind, in the back of my mind, I always knew that I was going to do it.
Right.
But I wanted to really go through the motions of thinking about it and talking to my family and just making sure this is something we really wanted to go in head first because it was a huge investment.
Yeah.
I mean, opening up any business is a huge investment, not just monetary, but time. And at the same time, we were working on our house, so it was just starting that. So I mean, trying to do both things at the same time was really the mental.
It's not ambitious at all.
No, it was
build a house, take over space, open a new business.
Yeah.
But you did it.
But I think that the immense challenge of it was what intrigued me.
Yeah.
Because I said to myself, I can do this. I was like, if I really want to do this, then I know I can do it. I'm just going to dedicate myself fully to this.
Right.
In a city that I love to live in. So I mean, there were some factors that helped me make that decision, knowing that we finally came to this beautiful city that we've been wanting to move to for so long. So we were already here. And that kind of just inspired me to want to do it. Because I said, you know what, I think this challenge fell in my lap for a reason, so I'm going to tackle it. I'm going to devote myself to it. I'm going to dedicate myself to learning everything I needed to learn, not just about what we're serving, like with regards to all the foods and putting together the entire menu, but the nuts and bolts and developing the infrastructure of a full-on restaurant and what that entails. So that was the huge challenge. That was the most difficult part, was that learning curve at the very beginning in not knowing, but then needing to know, and then going through the motions of learning so that I know.
To have made that climb hill. I mean, the amount of wisdom you gain.
Looking back now,
confronting those kinds of challenges.
If I were to look back in September of 18 to now, I would be in awe
Right.
at how it all unfolded
Right.
and how myself and our team were able to get it done.
Yeah.
Because I honestly wouldn't have envisioned it being as great as it's been.
That's
I mean, I envisioned it being something, because I like to practice, you know, what you project is, and what you envision is
Yeah.
what you get. And so I've been practicing that for a long time. So I always envisioned and projected that this is going to be something that was going to be great. But, you know, it's different when you're actually experiencing it. When you can look back and say, wow, you know, all these little decisions and steps that we made really contributed to this overall picture, little by little, but it just all adds up.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing journey.
The picture, the forest for the trees is
Yeah.
greater than the sum of parts.
Yeah.
That's
But
it's such a great story. I'm just so happy this has unfolded the way it has. Obviously, I've known Kevin for a while, since he was first starting looking here and looking at and moving here, and didn't know what you were going to end up doing, but I knew it was going to be great whatever it was once you got here. And this was like a really great bonus to this, to me for sure, but to this city, I think, as a whole. It's been really incredible. What do you think, what do you hear customers say that they love the most about your business? I already talked about someone I knew and what he said.
I think that's consistent with what we hear mostly, is the fact that it's wholesome and healthy. You know, what we serve is not only all organic, but there's a real focus on health and wellness with all of our recipes. And just the fact that, you know, we have a diverse menu that can kind of, you know, play to all palates. I mean, we do have a strong vegan influence in our menu, but we do have some, we do serve chicken, and we have tuna, so there is a little something for everybody. And like I said, I really wanted to create a place that myself, if I lived in a city and I was working, let's say, in another industry, a place that I would want to go to, that served food that appealed to my palate.
Yes.
And what I feel that other, you know, people would want. That's what I wanted to create.
Yes.
And so, you know, I did a lot of research before opening this place, and I traveled a lot to all these different juice bars and coffee houses that were pretty famous around the country, just to kind of get that common element and what separated them, what made them successful. And so I kind of picked these ideas from each one.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to ask you a lot about that in the future, because that really sounds
It was
like
a fun journey.
fun.
It was a fun journey, and I realized I needed to do it. I realized, you know what, if I really want to do this business, I got to do it right. You know, I don't want to just go in and wing it. I want to go in with a clear idea of what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So it took, you know, I traveled to California, all of California. California, obviously, you know, known for avocado toast and juice bars. I mean, it was a huge influence for me. All the way up through to Seattle, we traveled. I went to Austin, I even went to New York.
Wow.
New York has one of the most, you know, famous juice bars in the country.
Which one is that?
Juice Press. And they have this juice bar called Liquiteria, I think it was called. That one was pretty influential.
Cool.
It was really good. So it was, you know, in coffee houses too.
Yeah.
What set certain coffee houses apart from others. And of course, New Orleans, where I spent the last 10 years before moving here, was a big influence on that as well. Because there's some really famous, you know, unique coffee house atmospheres in New Orleans as well.
Sure.
So.
That's a place for atmosphere.
Yeah.
New Orleans is a really good place for atmosphere. So what do you love, what do you think you and maybe you and your family love the most about Santa Fe?
Oh man, there's just so much. I mean, we discovered Santa Fe, and what was it, 4 years ago? 4.5 years ago, and I just fell in love. I couldn't believe that I was ignorant to Santa Fe, and I hate to admit that, but you know, I was mostly from the East Coast, and I spent a lot of my growing up years overseas, so I didn't know much about the West Coast, especially New Mexico, so I didn't know much about Santa Fe. So we came here, and actually I came here first, and was just thrilled by the mountains, and the overall sort of this feel, this connection to the land, and this beautiful ancient city with the architecture and multiple different cultures. It was all very intriguing to me, and so I would say the thing I love most about Santa Fe is that, you know, just the culture.
Yeah.
And coming from New Orleans, which is another kind of, I hate to say like a sister city to Santa Fe, but in the sense that it's such an ancient culture with such a deep-rooted
and
history.
It's both, and it's another one that was colonial with, so it's hundreds of years with lots of different cultural influences and waves
changes.
in it and changes and stuff. So, the history is pretty good. I don't think it's a bad comparison, much as they're completely different
But cities that have that ancient nature to them, I mean, there's like I hate to call it a feeling, but it's in the air. Like there's this sense about it.
Yeah.
And so I instantly felt that when I came here, and with the backdrop of the mountains and the beautiful sunsets and the weather.
Yes.
I mean, it was just a calling for me. Growing up, I grew up mostly on the ocean. I'd never been intrigued by the ocean. I'd always been intrigued by the mountains. And so.
You don't think I did? Yeah, that's.
Yeah. So that was a big draw. That was a big draw.
And I know the site you picked for your house, you can see the mountains.
Oh yeah,
correct?
you helped me. You found that for me. That's right.
But you've got a nice view.
Yeah.
There every day for you, right?
Yeah, wake up in the morning to mountain views. That's the dream. Yeah.
Is there anything about Santa Fe, like in the business community or in general, that you think has room for improvement? You'd like to see change here?
I don't think I've lived here long enough to really recognize that. I've been in this bubble since I lived here, this bubble of like being involved in this and being here every day,
working hard,
developing, and going home after work and spending time with my daughter and my wife. So
I'll come back in like 2 years.
Yeah, I might have better insight on that, but from what I can tell, I mean, I think that permitting is an issue with the timeline on that. Like we're right now in the process of applying for, or we've already applied for a wholesale permit, and that's just been dragging. And I've heard from a lot of local businesses in this industry that have applied or are applying or are intending to apply about how the process is just one of the most ridiculously long processes to get approved for. And so we've been in it for about 2.5 months and still waiting. So it's I guess that's one thing that could be improved.
Well, I've heard you're not the first person I've heard that from, and I am glad again to say that my understanding is our current administration is really trying to focus heavily on reforming streamlining some of our business bureaucracy at the city level, and I'm sure it's just a process. Turn a steamship around super fast, but I'm hopeful that we're going to see some shifts with that. Hold that vision for local businesses here. Not a reason not to start a business here, just something to know as you go into it. Build it into your timelines.
Yeah, build it a timeline. One of the things that was challenging was getting the sign up front, the Terra Verde. I mean, that took way longer than I ever thought it would to get approved by the city, and so we had opened. We had a soft opening in February with the intention of having that sign up. We had that sign up until a day before the grand opening.
Oh, wow.
And we had started the application process in November. So
we're not in a historic district. We're just in a normal place.
It was just a matter of, the eyes that needed to see. It's the bottom of a pile that they wouldn't get to.
Yeah.
And it took me going to the city numerous times and kind of asking what's going on. Is there any chance that we can get this approved anytime soon? How kind of.
Yeah, it probably does. I mean, face-to-face in the city, I find is kind of a good method sometimes. Do you want to talk quickly before we wind this down about what some of your favorite other restaurants are in Santa Fe?
Oh, yeah. So we haven't tried everything, obviously. I mean, there's so many great options in the city, but my wife and my daughter and I, we do have our favorites.
Yeah.
Me personally, my wife and I love to go on a date night to Joseph's Culinary Pub. Love the atmosphere, love the dim litness of it. It's very romantic. The food is incredible. Love their wine list. I would say, but as a family, our favorite place is Anami at 10,000 Ways. Like my daughter, who's 10 years old, literally begs to go there at least once a week, and we try to go as much as often. We go maybe once every 2 weeks. There's a few dishes that just we're thrilled about and just always want to eat as much as possible. Plus their sake is amazing, and their atmosphere, and just the drive up the mountain is always beautiful. So I would say that, as a family, as a whole, has been our number one favorite spot.
Wow, cool.
So those two
I wouldn't have
places.
pegged that as a 10-year-old favorite.
Yeah,
It's like, well,
she's got
a cool kid,
sophisticated
so, yeah.
taste. Well, it's funny because the dish that I'm talking about, that she really likes, the fried chicken.
Oh, right.
So it's called the tori no karage,
Right.
but it's like it's really,
just
really
so
just fried chicken that she dips in soy sauce.
Yeah.
But for her, it's the greatest thing in the world because it's really good fried chicken.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a great restaurant. Well, thank you for your time today. This was fun. I hope that was fun. Is there anything else you would want to tell people? Anything coming up or things people should know about?
Well, we are, once we get our wholesale permit, we are planning on selling a lot of our product to local grocery stores.
Oh, cool.
10,000 Ways is actually one of our potential customers that's going to pick up our product. So a lot of what we have in our grab and go, we're developing new recipes for that. A lot of salads, a lot of wraps, a lot of interesting little superfood concoctions that we're coming up with that we're going to be, distributing around the city. So you can get something made from Terra Verde Organic, not just Terra Verde Organic, but in and around
That'll be
local
great.
shops. So that's our initial sort of like growth expansion.
I didn't know that was that's a great idea. I think that'll go over like gangbusters too.
Yes, so we're excited about that. We've got the kitchen space for it, so it's
Like, I know that there are croissants from, a chocolate maven everywhere in town, but like, that's not the same as Terra Verde.
so we're not really competing. It's
No.
we're sort of adding.
I'm saying you're like, I don't see anything like what you do
Right.
in that kind of section.
My wife and I are kind of organic snobs. Like we like the idea of eating all organic.
Yeah.
So that's something that we feel that people would want to see on the shelves in local grocery stores is an easy to take home meal that they know is 100% organic. So that's what we want to do and contribute to.
So excellent.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much. That was really fun.
Yeah.